And a big boost for the medicinal cannabis industry with the legalising of exports, listed cannabis stocks having a belter on the market for them at the moment. And one of those actually leading the gains is Cann Group, one of the leaders very much in the space. And I'm pleased to say its CEO, Peter Crock, joins us now live from our Melbourne studio. Peter Crock, do appreciate your time. And look, I have to suspect a somewhat momentous occasion for the industry, considering what the government has announced this morning, legalising the export of medicinal cannabis.
It is an important step, James, and probably more importantly, it's an important step for improving access for Australian patients. It's become clear that to set up at scale is an important part of ensuring that we can provide access in a timely fashion to Australian patients. And this news today means that we can invest with confidence and set up an operation that's going to allow us to operate at a world competitive scale, and that will improve access for Australian patients in the shorter term than it otherwise would have been the case.
How is that? Because people farmers and so forth in the group companies will be wanting to try and meet some of the global demand, they automatically will be harvesting more, which then can also be used in the domestic market. Is that the theory?
It's actually a highly technical cultivation process, and all of our facilities that we're operating are fully contained indoor facilities, and that requires investment. And to invest in an unknown patient base size in Australia, it started, I think Greg Hunt this morning Minister Hunt was quoted as 300 patients having access. You can't set up a commercial operation on that scale, but by being able to produce at scale from early in the piece, then we will be able to provide access to patients. But we have the possibility to export the product, means that we've got revenue from day one when we set up at that scale.
It makes it more commercially viable when you have that scale, essentially. But I want to talk about globally and the opportunity in the market, but what about domestically? As you referenced, the Minister suggesting 300 registered users. Clearly the market's bigger than that here in Australia. So what has been the issue in terms of broadening that market, and are the issues being solved?
The federal government have taken steps and have put in place special access scheme to allow patient access, and doctors can now prescribe. The next important step, and I think there is an appetite at state level to see access improve or be simplified, and what needs to happen there, I think, is a harmonisation across the state, so that we've got the same rules for patient access throughout Australia. At the moment it is complicated, it's not clear who's or where there are blocks in place. It varies from state to state. So I think as that frees up and we see that open up, then we'll see the market grow considerably.
Peter, Rick Spooner from CFC, congratulations first of all, a great day for you and the industry. But from a shareholder's point of view, how much risk is there of new entrants coming in now that the product is becoming more sanctioned officially, and do you see vertical integration as some defence against that?
Yeah, what is clear is that Australia are going to hold this to the highest standards. The TGA pivotal in that, and that's been put in place with the Office of Drug Control, and I don't think we'll see any of those barriers or the significant requirements being reduced. So they promised that this was not going to be easy. They said it wouldn't be impossible, and in fact we've shown that it is possible. We have our first crops have been taken all the way through to harvest already. But those requirements are going to remain stringent, I believe, and it needs to be highly controlled. And at the end of the day, that will benefit patients with access to high-quality, reproducible, well-characterised product.
So are they the key barriers? Is it the licences, which I note Cann was the first to receive both the licence issued by the Australian Government's Office of Drug Control as well as the first medicinal cannabis cultivation licence. Do they remain barriers to entry for new entrants?
Yeah, and the licence is actually only the first step. Beyond that, you need to apply for a permit to cultivate. So we remain one of the few to have been issued a permit to grow. So those barriers will remain in place and are considerable in terms of ensuring that the right controls mean there's no diversion of product, that it's the right quality product that's making its way to Australian patients.
Can we talk now about the global market? What is the estimated size of it? Where are some of the key markets? And you talk about quality. I mean, where does Australia sit on the quality curve in terms of what we're producing in the cannabis space?
Australia's embryonic, there's no question about that, but there's no doubt that our technology capability, both from a high-tech agricultural technology play through to the medical technology that's going to sit behind this, I think will allow us to move to the forefront very quickly. And some of the steps that have already been taken, and the Victorian Government and Agriculture Victoria got the ball rolling first in Australia and have to be given credit for what they've achieved in the short time they've been active in this space. But that sets us up with a platform that allows us to move into a world market that is expanding rapidly. So Canada, as you know, has been legalised for some time. The fact that they're moving to legalise cannabis completely in the middle of this year means, in fact, there's going to be a drain on medicinal cannabis, and that's where I think the opportunity sits for Australia to focus on medicinal cannabis, and that will grow. And you look at the population base in Canada, Germany in the last year have also moved to cannabis as on the equivalent of their PBS. So the growth in Germany we've seen has been rapid, and we're seeing a number of countries move to legalise medicinal cannabis in particular, and that's where we think the opportunity sits.
And where the supply, I would have thought, is going to be greatest, though. So again, I mean, what's the point of difference for someone like Cann Group? Is it the technology? Is it the quality?
It will be that, absolutely, and the science that's going on in the background with understanding the cannabinoid profile of the plant itself and how that interacts with the body. There's a lot of science to be done, and I think Australia will be at the forefront of what is really exciting area of development.
So what is the ambition? I mean, do you see a range of sort of products as the science is further explored and understood? I mean, where is this industry actually going beyond, you know, the 300 registered users that are currently, you know, using it at the moment, for example?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a high value-added export opportunity and a high technology opportunity for Australian patients. And as we move forward into the world of what's rapidly becoming personalised medicine, understanding the interaction of cannabinoids and the human physiological response is going to be an important part, and that's where I think there's a lot of work to be done to understand and explore exactly what's possible there.
That, I suppose, opportunity has been something that seemingly has been embraced by the market, by investors, particularly for your company, for Cann Group. I mean, it's been an extraordinary life, albeit somewhat brief, on the market. What have you made of that? And I suppose the expectation now from shareholders that is built in on you.
Yeah, that's true. The pressure's on to perform, and it's exciting to be at the forefront of what is a whole new industry, and it's not every day that you get that opportunity. But at the same time, in talking to the staff, and it's, you know, last week I shook the hand of our 28th employee. We had 4 on board when we started in May when we IPO'd, and it's been rapid growth. But the opportunities for us to step forward in this area are really exciting.
All right, Peter Crock, have to leave it there, but as mentioned, really appreciate you joining us on a big day for the industry. Thank you.